Scott Bell.
The party's just getting started, in fact. Yeah, there's a consciousness shift on health and healing. We know that. We're a big part of it. We're happy to do so and serve in this way. But there's more than that. You know, we've talked about energy issues, peak oil issues, things like that. And we've also talked about the replacement bulbs to the incandescents, because Al Gore and that crowd said, "Oh my gosh, you're burning too much. You're not sacrificing the energy. You got to use less." All right, listen, law of economy. We got nothing against that concept, but when you replace perfectly good Thomas Edison inspired, Nikola Tesla inspired light bulbs with things that contain mercury to the extent that should a bulb break, you have to call in hazardous materials teams to clear it out. Now, whether you do or don't, that's another story. But what you should do, of course, is not ever have them in your home. But they said they've been banned. The 100 watters, you can't get them anymore. But Super Don, he showed me the other day, he's holding a 100-watt bulb. He just got shipped to him from Newcandescent and a guy named Larry Birnbaum. Super Don, how'd you hook up with this?
You know, I believe it or not, I was just on the internet and I came across this. I think it was on Facebook, and I was looking at that and I was like, really? 100-watt bulb? Because I'm a big fan of the 100-watt bulb. When they started discontinuing that, I was trying to hoard bulbs because I was just like, what's the point of a 40-watt bulb? You know, I mean, you can't read, you can't see, you're just going to trip and fall over trying to, replace the bulb anyway. So I love the 100-watt bulb, and then I found this guy, Larry Birnbaum, and his company, Newcandescent, and was reading about it, and it's like, wow, you can get a 100-watt bulb. I mean, he found a loophole that
I
allows
like this
you to.
Guy, he's smart.
It is, and you know what? The bulbs, they're not that expensive. They're about the same as what you were paying before. It's a tougher bulb. It lasts longer, and you get the 100-watt regular light that you're used to. I was just like, this guy's my hero.
We need to get this guy on the show. Let's see if we can bring him up now. Larry Birnbaum from Newcandescent. He's on the Robert Scott Bell Show. Larry, nice job, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Robert.
Glad to have you on board. I mean, listen, I am so concerned about the mercury in the new bulbs, the CFLs, and even the LEDs have some issues that are concerning to me. But first and foremost, start with if you can go to the backstory, how you got into light bulbs, and then how'd you find this loophole to allow the folks that still want to go back in time to say, hey, those bulbs were perfectly fine.
Okay, well, I'm third generation in the light bulb business. My grandfather, who happened to be friendly with Thomas Edison, my father, and myself. And the way that Thomas Edison actually met my grandfather was my grandfather was one of the first GE light bulb distributors in Manhattan in 1914. And GE had run a sales contest, and my grandfather won it. And Thomas Edison came to present the prize, which was an original Edison handmade light bulb. And when he saw my grandfather, who happened to be an inventor as well, not quite as famous, but an inventor, and they suddenly became friends, fast friends. And they were friends up until his death in 1931.
Well, that says a lot, because the reputation of Thomas Edison is he wasn't the most friendly of souls out there. But leave that aside for the moment. Who would have predicted that, 100 years or less into the future, that there would be a concerted effort to ban the very bulbs that started lighting everything up after dark?
Well, the way we found it is when in '07, when they decided to put the laws through banning the light bulbs, the incandescents. I have a store called the Light Bulb Store here in South Hackensack, and people were coming in droves buying every incandescent light bulb I had. They were cleaning me out.
That was me. I was one of those same people.
And the lamps that they, just so you know, the light bulbs that they banned were called general service light bulbs. Those are the ones that you would get in a big box store or in your drugstore or your grocery or supermarket type store. What had happened was once they did that, I said, it spurred my curiosity, and I went and I got a hold of the lighting law, and I went, right into it with my attorney, and we realized that there was an exception in the law called rough service, which is exactly the same thing as the general service, except that it's a much beefier, hardier light bulb. But the color was the same, the structure was basically the same. And what the government did in that exception is that they issued 2 permits to continue to make them. However, we had to redesign from the ground up. And that's how we got the name Newcandescent, because we took the old rough service and we had to redesign it to the new government specs. And in order to do that, in order to get the permit, we had to pass muster with them, which we did, and we got permission November of 10. We got the letter from the Department of Energy telling us we can go forward, and I designed the whole line from apples to zebras. We have every band light bulb we have.
Mm. That's so awesome.
I love Larry,
you are my hero, Larry. You are absolutely my hero. I love that story.
Let me ask you, Larry, real
by
quick.
the way, just to also tell your audience, part of that law was not only did the light bulb have to be redesigned, but the best part, it had to be made in America.
Wow, imagine that. Something still made in America, Larry. Nice job. Yeah. Nicely done. Now, it's interesting.
No more imports.
And you didn't have to get like an exception like plea with Obama because, his own health care law, they call it Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, he keeps changing without Congress, just by executive fiat. We're going to delay this mandate for the corporations till later. But you didn't. It was right in the law. You didn't have to do a special petition. You found it, and you said, we're doing it.
Yeah, and they only had 2 permits available, and thank God we were lucky enough to get one.
Nicely done.
The other one went to. I'm sorry.
Do you have the kind over the years? I saw the evolution in the last 20 or so years of the standard Edison type light bulbs. They went into some full spectrum lighting. It changed some of the wavelengths that made the light look nicer inside the house. Do you have those in the rough bulb territory?
Actually, that is the next item that we're going to be making, what they call full spectrum light bulbs, and it's the inside is the same. It's the glass on the outside that they make the glass with something called neodymium, which we're going to be reducing a whole line of those, and we're also going to be coming out with a Newcandescent Ultra 20, which is going to be a 20,000 hour light bulb.
Wow. Nice innovation.
Right.
Listen.
Right now, the light bulbs we're making, the Newcandescents, are 10,000 hours.
Right. So that's you're doubling the length of life there. Now, listen, it is a fact. Correct me if I'm wrong, Larry. I mean, the incandescents, the reason they targeted them is because they burn, let's just say, or they use more energy per kilowatt hour or what. Explain to me the whole backstory here, because as I said, I understand that. We're not against conservation. I mean, but the thing is, you can still use these bulbs in a responsible manner, but they also don't have mercury in them.
That's correct. No mercury at all. It's the old technology that just got beefed up so to make it last longer and work better. But other than that, the color is the same. The physical size is the same. And they actually are energy saving. Part of the government's program, we had to make it 30% efficient, which basically you burn 70 watts of electric, but you get 100 watts in light.
Okay, so there are improvements in terms of energy utilization with this as well. This is really sounding great.
Yes,
wow.
That's correct. That's correct. And
so, I mean, really what you're looking at here is you're getting a bulb that lasts longer, that saves energy, and that, with the price that you're paying for one of these bulbs, you would have had to have bought 2 or 3 bulbs of the old ones anyway. So really what you've done here is you have saved the day. I mean, you have saved the light bulb.
The general service that we were speaking a few moments ago, usually we're good for about 750 hours.
And this is a 10,000 hour bulb.
10,000 hours. Lasts about 12 times longer.
So in reality, you're actually paying less for the light bulb than you would have had you used one of the old general service bulbs, because you would have had to replace numerous of those for the price of just one of these.
At 3 hours a day average, with the regular 750, you're good for about 9 months. Ours at 3 hours a day, good for 9 years.
Holy
wow.
cow.
Yeah, stunning, stunning. Listen, as you're listening to the Robert Scott Bell Show, we're talking with Larry Birnbaum. He's from Newcandescent, and we have that linked up in the show notes at robertscottbell.com. We don't have an economic incentive to this. I thought it was, when Super Don brought it to my attention, a story that needed to be told. We don't sell them. I certainly like to get some, but the point of this interview is to say, hey, you do not have to resort to mercury. And, of course, the other aspects of wavelength associated with different bulbs, whether they be the fluorescent bulbs or whether they be the CFLs or even the new LEDs, which are kind of cool, but wavelength is very specific to people. Some people do better on the old standby light bulb that we're talking about here than all of these other new ones.
Oh, absolutely. The problem that you have with compact fluorescence is one is the mercury. The other issue is they flicker, and anybody that has any kind of seizure disorder, right out, boom, you end up on the floor if you look at those. And the color, it's a very difficult color. Our body are used to 2250 Kelvin, which is that warm, soft glow that you get out of your incandescent. It's almost impossible to make a compact fluorescent in that color. They don't have the technology, down yet to get that particular color. And like you said, if you drop it, you need a hazmat, people to come in, or you. And
yeah.
God
well, listen, Larry, you're providing a very good service here and a very good product. I'm very excited. We're going to try it out. Can't wait for the full spectrum bulbs to come out. Maybe we'll have you back on. Love to talk to you more about the history, because it's fascinating how your own family ties back into Edison as well. So, Larry, thank you for being here. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Newcandescent.com.
Newcandescent.com.